The morning sun broke through the heavy mist that cloaked the ancient valley. Shafts of light pierced through enormous ferns, revealing a world untouched by time. Giant trees rose like pillars toward the clouds, their branches woven with vines, while dragonflies the size of birds glided lazily over shimmering pools. From the heart of this jungle came a sound, deep, powerful, and commanding. The rhythmic thud of footsteps echoed through the fog, each step shaking the ground beneath. Out of the mist emerged Allosaurus, the ruler of these lands. His skin glistened with dew, his amber eyes gleamed with sharp awareness. He stopped near a fallen log, sniffing the air. The wind carried the scent of prey, faint but fresh. He lowered his head, moving gracefully through the dense undergrowth. His tail swayed like a living whip, balancing his every step. To watch him move was to witness a blend of strength and elegance. Nature's perfect design. The forest whispered around him, the chirping of insects, the crackling of leaves, the distant call of another predator. But Allosaurus remained calm. He had survived countless seasons. This was his world, his kingdom. As the sun rose higher, the valley revealed its beauty. Rivers sparkling like silver snakes, mountains towering in the distance. But beneath that beauty lay a single truth. Only the strongest survived. And Allosaurus, with his scarred face and golden eyes, was proof that he was born to rule. By midday, the air shimmered with heat. The forest was alive with movement. Herds of herbivores gathered near the river, drinking cautiously. A group of Stegosaurus wandered nearby, their plates gleaming in the light. Birds screeched overhead. But in the shadows, a silent watcher waited. Allosaurus crouched low, hidden behind fallen trees. His breathing slowed, his muscles coiled. His gaze fixed on a lone young Stegosaurus separated from the herd. The predator's heart pounded with focus. Not from hunger alone, but from instinct. He was born to hunt, to challenge the balance of nature. He waited for the right moment. The wind shifted, carrying his scent toward the herd. The animals lifted their heads, uneasy. The young Stegosaurus turned slightly, sensing danger. In that heartbeat of hesitation, Allosaurus moved. Leaves exploded around him as he burst from hiding, his roar echoing across the valley like thunder. The herd scattered, running in chaos. Trees swayed, dust rose. Allosaurus darted forward with surprising speed for his size, navigating the terrain with perfect precision. The chase was not just a pursuit, it was a dance of life and survival. When the moment ended, silence returned, broken only by the whisper of the river. The jungle accepted its rhythm once again, the cycle of predator and prey complete. Allosaurus stood tall, his chest rising and falling, his gaze proud. For him, this was not cruelty. It was the law of his world. The days passed quietly, but in the wild, peace was only an illusion. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, a low rumble echoed through the valley, not from the earth, but from another voice. A deep, powerful roar answered the silence. Allosaurus stopped mid-stride, eyes narrowing. The scent in the air changed. Another of his kind was here. The sound came again, closer this time. The rival appeared through the fog, larger, younger, and unscarred, his scales darker like shadows against firelight. The message was clear, a challenge for territory. Both predators circled each other slowly, their eyes locked. The tension in the air was electric, the jungle holding its breath. Leaves rustled, birds took flight, and even the wind seemed to retreat. Each movement was calculated, a test of dominance, not rage. They clashed with a thunderous impact, but it was not a mindless fight. It was survival, a test of leadership. The earth trembled under their movements. After a fierce exchange of power and strength, the scarred Allosaurus used his experience, turning at just the right moment, forcing his rival to stumble. The younger one hesitated, realizing his defeat. With a low growl, he retreated into the forest shadow. The victor stood tall beneath the fading light. His scar burned under the sun like a crown. The message was clear. The king still ruled. Weeks later, the air grew strange. The ground trembled, and the sky changed from blue to a deep crimson hue. Smoke and ash filled the horizon. The volcano to the north had awakened. The air smelled of fire and dust, a warning that the world itself was changing. The forest panicked. Herds fled, rivers boiled, and the ground cracked apart. Amidst the chaos, Allosaurus stood on a ridge overlooking his burning domain. Lava flowed like rivers of light below him. The sounds of the forest, the songs of birds, the rustling of leaves were replaced by the roar of the earth itself. For the first time, fear crept into the eyes of the predator. Yet, there was no escape. The flames reflected in his eyes like two suns. He lifted his head toward the darkened sky and released a deep, echoing roar. Not of anger, but of defiance. It was as if he challenged the very heavens, refusing to be erased. The world burned, but in his heart, Allosaurus knew. Legends don't die, they transform. His spirit would remain long after the fire turned the land to stone. Thousands of centuries passed. The earth cooled. The forests grew again. Oceans shifted. Continents changed. The mighty creatures of the past were gone. Yet deep beneath layers of rock and time, their bones remained, silent but eternal. One day, in a world far from his own, a team of explorers unearthed something extraordinary. A massive skull, still bearing a faint scar above the eye. The scientists stared in awe. They called it Allosaurus, the different lizard. But to nature, he was more than just bones. Through fossils and whispers of stone, the story of the ancient predator lived again. In every thunderstorm, in every roar of the wild, there was a trace of him, the ruler of a forgotten era. And when the wind howled through the mountains, some said it still carried his voice, the echo of a king who once walked the earth with pride and power. The ancient predator was not gone. He had simply become eternal. Deep inside a modern research facility built in the middle of a desert, a team of paleogenetic scientists worked day and night around a fossil that had changed everything. The skull of Allosaurus. The fossil sat inside a massive glass chamber surrounded by glowing machines and robotic arms scanning every microscopic detail. One evening, Dr. Ava Nolan, the lead scientist, stared at the monitor as data streamed across the screen. "It's impossible," she whispered, eyes wide. "There's preserved DNA in the bone marrow." The room fell silent. Centuries of extinction, and yet a trace of life remained. Within days, the lab buzzed with activity. Samples were extracted, analyzed, and placed into an artificial egg incubator powered by advanced bioengineering. Cameras recorded every stage. Outside the facility, news spread. The ancient predator might live again. Weeks later, the egg began to crack. The hum of the machines slowed, the lights dimmed, and a low, echoing sound filled the chamber. The first cry of a reborn legend. A small, scaled creature lifted its head, blinking under the bright lights. Its golden eyes shimmered just like the one that once ruled the Jurassic forests. Dr. Nolan leaned closer to the glass. "Welcome back," she said softly. "Welcome back, Allosaurus." The cameras flashed, reporters shouted, but inside the glass, the newborn predator watched silently, calm, yet curious. Deep within those eyes was something ancient, something powerful. The memory of fire, forests, and the roar of a forgotten world. The ancient predator had returned.